Who of you, by a show of hands, is having a hard time? I think every single person watching is. I want to make this video because I want to look back, see the path that I've gone down, and see how everything came together the way it's supposed to. It is so hard to see how things are going to end up when you're going through a hard time. And I'm going to be as transparent as I can be without telling other people's business, but I'm going through a hard time. I want to let people know so that they know that they're not alone. I want people to know because I intend to make this a permanent thing. I'm not just doing YouTube for a few months and then see you later. I don't want down the road things to come out and then people say, she never showed that anything was going on. There's stuff going on. It's hard. It's really challenging. I don't know how to deal with it all the time, but I'm doing the best I can, and I'm going to tell you what's working so far. I just want to start too by saying I think there's chronic bad times and then there's temporary bad times, and I think the two are completely different. I think chronic is sometimes, most of the time, harder because you don't know when the end is coming. When is this going to be over? When is this suffering going to stop? When is A, B, and C going to get worked out? I don't know. That is some of the hardest pain to go through. If you break a bone, the doctor will tell you 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to be great. You're going to be fine. There are things that are chronic pain, chronic trials and tribulations, chronic hard times that there's no manual for. There's no right way to handle them and deal with them. But we are like, how the heck are we going to get through this? Because it's lasting forever and I just want the stinking thing to be done. So things like cancer, mental illness, addiction, loving someone with addiction, you don't know when that's going to end. You don't know how it's going to end. Is it going to end with healing? Is it going to end with death? Is it going to end with poverty? You don't know. So you're just kind of like waiting and floundering about, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Is there something I can say? Is there something that I can take action on? It's hard. It's hard and I hate it. And I've been going through something for a few years now and I feel like it's coming to a head. I feel like, when things build, and then it's like, something's going to give. Something's going to happen. And I've waited and I've prayed and I've been thinking, when is this something going to work itself out? How is the next chapter of my life going to take place? And I feel like I'm right on the cusp. I remember praying, like, God, just give me something to know which direction to go in, because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. I don't know how my life is going to go. So while establishing that there are two different types of trials and two different types of pain, chronic and temporary, I'm going to hone in on the chronic because I feel like that's where people are really searching for some help. Like I said, I've been going through some stuff for a bit now, and it sometimes affects me greatly, and other times I can just live my daily life like nothing is going on. That being said, the tougher times are growing because things are about to develop into healing. Things are going to progress to a point where there's nothing else to do. There's no more wondering what avenue I should take, what's the right move. So I'm going to just share with you a few of my notes because I feel as though I'm going to get off track or start speaking too vague because I want to protect those around me and a little bit of my privacy. So I did write down some stuff that I think is crazy helpful, and at the time I didn't know it was helpful, but it really was. So I think we all are like, with the pandemic, thinking it's going to be like chronic. Like, we've already been going through this for so long, like how much longer is it going to last? And I had a client come into the salon the other day and she told me a whole story of how her sister had passed away, unfortunately, unexpectedly. And so her sister was like super spunky and really feminine, really girly, like loved flashy glitter and pink and boas and things like that. So this woman's family had a super intimate funeral, and only like 2 or 3 people went because they wanted to keep everyone safe. This woman couldn't attend the funeral, long story short. So her and her husband got completely dressed up because they were going to live stream it. So like I said, this woman, she like loved glitter, she loved glam, she loved, you know, sass. And so she had her husband wear a bright pink button-up shirt. She wore a feather boa. She got all dressed up in her finest clothing. And they sat down in the living room and they went to turn on the TV and they couldn't live stream it. Something malfunctioned. And so they're sitting there all dressed up. This woman's trying to give a send-off to her sister who died unexpectedly, and they just couldn't. I can't even imagine, and I don't want to, but that is the reality of things. This video might be a little depressing for some people. I get it if you want to click away, but I really do think there's some content in here that you're going to want to see. So, not knowing what is going to happen is like absolutely agonizing at times, but this is what I think you should do. I think first and foremost, or I shouldn't say first and foremost, but one of the things I want to say is I think it's important to know how you're processing each step of grief or each step of a hard situation, because then you can know what to do next. So if you journal, and I know everyone says that, oh, just journal, you know, but no, for real, seriously, you can write down a paragraph, you can write down a quote, you can write down something that struck you, something that made you upset, or happy, or, you know, what have you, something that just, maybe you don't know how you felt about something, but for some reason someone said something to you and it's just like sticking in your mind. Write it down, because then you might be able to put the pieces together when you go back and read. So I think inspecting oneself is huge. And also, so I'm a nerd. I've been like watching old shows, kind of like reminiscing from my childhood and my teenage years and everything. So I've been watching Dawson's Creek. Show of hands, who's watched Dawson's Creek? It's like the cheesiest show ever, but it's actually pretty good, while being equally horrible. Anyway, so Dawson is the main character, and he's like an aspiring filmmaker, and his flame, Joey, the girl next door, is journaling on this particular episode, and he finds her journal and he reads it, and she had just like really, you know, slammed his work. So he read it and she was like bashing his skills, like really bashing his skills hard. And at this point in the show, they're together, they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and he's like, if you don't believe in me, then why would you lie to me? Why would you say so? And she was saying how when they were going through some struggles, she just wrote that down. So that's what I mean. Like, if you feel something and you want to just like lash out and you want to say it, then say it, but on paper. You don't want to have a diarrhea of the mouth and then be like, oh, good Lord, why did I say that? I think also talking about it with someone that knows exactly the situation you're in, like it could be a Facebook group, it could be a friend. I think that is super important. And also understand that some people aren't going to get it. You're going to take a chance by telling people, hey, I'm going through this super personal thing, like something that's like just in the crevices of my heart, and they may just like look at you like, I don't know what you're talking about, or why can't you just suck that up, or, you know, whatever. They understand that it's worth the risk to confide in someone that could understand, because if they do, that's so worth it. But like if they don't, you're gonna have to be able to pick yourself up and move on and be able to share with someone else. So I think sharing with someone, I mean, how many times, like as a mom, have we gone through things and been like, oh my gosh, my kid will not sleep through the night, and it feels like you're literally the only one until someone says, that lasted such and such a time, or, oh yeah, that's the 4-month sleep regression, it'll get better. When someone understands, you're like, oh, good, I'm not alone, I'm not crazy. So if you're going through a hard time and you find a person that you can like, you know, really relate to, or they can relate to you, then just like cling to that. Don't smother them though, that's weird. So talk about it with a group or a person, but also talk about it with a professional. How many times have people said, you know, I don't want to go see a counselor because I don't want a stranger knowing my business, or they're just gonna, you know, do some shrinky stuff, give me some mumbo jumbo and be done with it. There are counselors out there that are so good. I am starting counseling for my situation, and I personally am gonna try to do like online counseling, like live streamed counseling. I have an app on my phone now that I can reach my counselor 5 days a week, text, email, whatever, and then I have one session a week where it's face to face. I'm gonna give that a go. I am a little like uneasy about it, just because I just feel like electronic is a little bit more distant than in person, but that's the world we're living in right now, so I'm gonna go with it. And I'm really hopeful. I think to just get someone's unbiased perspective is gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. Talk with a spiritual leader. That's another one. So talk with a group or a friend, talk with a counselor, talk with a spiritual leader if you have a faith. My pastor's wife has been pretty helpful. She'll just shoot me a text with a special verse, or she'll call me and just be a sounding board. But yeah, so talk with a spiritual leader. And most importantly, talk with God if that's what you feel comfortable doing. I feel as though a lot of people don't talk to God because they think it has to be a super like formal, like, Our Father which art in heaven, and that's, you know, that's a great prayer, but we can even make that more personal. Okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be like, what's going on? My husband and I, back in March, before the pandemic really hit this area, we went to a concert, a Christian concert. It's Mercy Me, and they've been around for forever, but I saw them in concert with him, and it was so good. And there's a song called Even If, and if you're a believer and you listen to Christian music, you know exactly which song I'm talking about. It's saying like, I know that you're capable, I know that you're good, I know that you're gonna, I know that you could change these situations, but even if you don't, my hope is in you alone. So he had talked about how his son has diabetes and how hard it is to see your child sick for long term. You know, diabetes is nothing to shrug off. So he's watching his child go through sickness his whole life. And he knows that if God said the word, his son would be cured. But he's also saying, but even if you don't, my hope is in you alone. Like, my hope is still in you. And I think that's huge. I think that's really huge, to go through a hard time and still have that mentality of like, even if things don't go my way, you're still going to be my God. I'm still going to have faith. I'm not just going to say, you didn't help me, so peace out. See ya. So that's something. So talk to God and listen, because as you're pouring out your heart, you're going to get like little bits and pieces back. Like, there have been times that I'm so mad. I'm like, God, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're not doing something to finish this situation. And then like, if there's like this like quiet, it's almost like your conscience, like, I am doing something. This is the something. Just because you don't understand it doesn't make it unreal. And then just keep waiting. If things are getting worse, things sometimes have to get worse before they get better, and you don't know the road that you're traveling down until you're looking behind. So when things are done, then you can look and see like all the bullets that you've dodged. So like if you're still struggling, you're still going through these hard things, like just know you're still on the road for a hopeful future. Like just because you're still traveling down the road doesn't mean that it's not the way it should be. Like it's just taking time. There's something that is still needing to be worked out that you don't know, you can't control. And when you're sharing with other people, I think it's really important to like not let them get you down, because I've shared with some people and they just, like I said, they get it, and then other people are so discouraging. Like, oh yeah, that is pretty bad, or I don't see much hope. Things like that. It's like, well, I do. I don't need a friend to tell me it's hopeless. I need someone to tell me like, hang in there. Like things are gonna be just fine. I was talking to my dad and he, I'm just like venting and like telling him all these different things and like how I'm struggling, and he's like, well, have you thanked God for it yet? And I was like, what? He's like, have you thanked God for the path that for what he's doing? Because if things are happening, that's because God's working. Like that's something that is being accomplished. So I'm going to end with this. There's a verse in the Bible that's 1 Peter 5:10. And it says, and after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself, he's not going to have someone else do it, will himself restore you, confirm you, strengthen you, and establish you. And I think there's another version that says, and plant you on firm ground, or a solid foundation. Like that is like poetry, when you're going through a hard time and you hear God is gonna confirm, establish, and plant you on something solid and real, and you're gonna be strong and you're gonna be okay. Like that's huge. So I know like people out there are going through death, through loss, through trials, through tribulations, through addiction, through all of these different things. And I think it's just super important to know like there are things you can do. Like people throw their hands up because they've talked to a few of their besties and they're like, nothing's happening. I don't feel a connection to anyone. I can't get over this. But have you sat down alone with yourself in your own thoughts and let yourself really feel them, really think them through? Like cleared out the cobwebs of that dark area you don't want to go, and journal it and talk to someone and talk to someone else and talk to a counselor and talk to God. Have you done all those things? Because if not, you're not doing everything you can be doing to get over what you're going through. And I'm not speaking at you. I'm speaking to myself because I've been there. I feel like I don't need to journal. I know what's going on in my head. Or I don't want to tell people. You're not doing any favors for yourself. Like just do it. Just do the things. And then after you've exhausted all of those things, there's another thing that you can do, and you can just wait. Just wait. I know it's so hard. That's the worst thing. Like I said, when you break a bone or you have an injury and the doctor tells you you have this long to go through something, okay, you have bronchitis, take these antibiotics for 10 days. Like 10 days later you're gonna feel pretty good. But when you're struggling with stuff like this, it could be a while. It could be a while. So just hunker down and sit for the ride, and just know that you have options and you have things that you can be doing, and not to give up, but to have hope. You just have to have faith. So I got a little heated. Sorry. Not sorry. Anyway, I don't mean to be cryptic. I will be sharing what's going on eventually, and it's gonna be beautiful, because it's either gonna be one extreme or another, how things work out. And I just know that God's got this. I know that it's going to be okay. It's just going to be interesting to see the path in comparison to the ending. So like I said, I'm making this video because I'm going to look back and I'm going to see where God has brought me and like how things have turned out. I think that's going to be a pretty cool thing to do. That's the perk of doing stuff like this, making videos, is that you can see the growth, you can see the progression of lives, And I love that. I love that. Like this video, turn on your notifications, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Oh, I'm gonna try to post more frequently. It's a little challenging for me because, as you all know, I work a bit and I am momming a bit, and then I'm doing YouTube and. But I'm really loving this and I really want my channel to grow. So I was thinking about doing like sit down Sundays and then maybe like vlog Thursdays. I usually put a video out every Thursday and it's usually like miscellaneous, like you never know what you're gonna get, but I really feel like I get a lot of questions of people saying, can you vlog about this, or can you show me how you do that? But I get more views from my sit down videos, and I love doing both. So I'm thinking, like I said, sit down Sunday and then vlog Thursday, or like beauty Thursday. Let me know what you think of that. I think that would be a lot of fun to be able to push out an extra video and just get some good content, some words of wisdom, if I have much of that. But anyway, I will talk to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Have a great day.